What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Randy Orton hopes a rival pay-per-view fails, Chris Jericho wants Roman Reigns in AEW, Bray Wyatt's mysterious message may have a connection, AJ Styles doesn't get how masks work, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now our first story looks at Randy Orton hoping a pay-per-view fails. Now the former Good Brothers that of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows ran their comedy wrestling pay-per-view Talk and Shop Mania, and WWE superstar Randy Orton was the first to wish them failure, tweeting, "Heard there's some wrestling on pay-per-view tonight, what's this all about? I hope it fails miserably." Now the Apex Predator was definitely not the only wrestler who had fun with the show, with former WWE superstar Heath Slater adding, "I know man, heard it's the Talk and Shop. Hashtag Talk and Shop Mania, hashtag the worst pay-per-view ever, it's gonna be about as bad as diarrhea." Slater showed up on the show of one of wrestling's oddest events ever, and it featured a number of other appearances by former WWE superstars including Mike and Maria Kanellis, Hornswoggle, Chavo Guerrero, Teddy Long, Kurt Hawkins, and many others. Even WWE Hall of Famers The Rock and Roll Express made their appearance. The show was funny, but what did you guys think of it? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Chris Jericho wants Roman Reigns in AEW. Chris Jericho is once again making it clear that he wants WWE superstar Roman Reigns to join AEW. Le Champion was fielding questions on his Saturday Night Special YouTube program and was asked about who he'd like to see in AEW. Jericho's wish list included Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Kota Ibushi, Don Callis, and one of the WWE's top stars, Roman Reigns. He mentioned on his stream, "I'd put Roman Reigns at the top of that wish list for anybody because not only is he a great worker, he's such a cool guy. If they just let him be him, he'd really be the biggest star in the industry for real. So that's a guy I would love to get my hands on for sure." The chances of Roman Reigns going to AEW appear to be slim right now, as he's repeatedly said how devoted he is to the WWE. Short of a complete falling out with Vince McMahon, it's very unlikely we'll ever see him in AEW. But that doesn't mean fans and Chris Jericho can't dream. Next up, AJ Styles doesn't get how masks work. The use of wearing face masks during the current pandemic has proved controversial for some people, wrestlers and fans alike. However, current Intercontinental Champion AJ Styles is a big supporter of wearing masks. The Phenomenal One discussed the importance of wearing a mask during his recent Twitch stream, pointing out, "You know what, I was thinking today about wearing a mask in this COVID-19 stuff. I'm not so sure how much of it works, but I do know that if it helps you stop spitting when you're talking to someone, that helps a little bit. If only keeps someone from freaking out for not wearing a mask, it's definitely worth wearing a mask. I've already told you, but before in Japan they always wear masks. If they are sick, they will wear a mask, not because someone else was, but because they were, and they did not want to give it to someone else. For what I think it is, you know, as a person who cares, I say we should all care. Just wear a mask, it's not that hard, it's not that big of a deal. I say it's inconvenient, but it's not that big of a deal. I think we should all do our part." Although Styles' comments suggest he doesn't know the mechanics of why masks are important, he understands they are important. Next up, Bray Wyatt posts a mysterious message that could have a connection to his attack on Bliss. And what's going on with the Fiend Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss? That's a question fans are buzzing about, but the WWE is wisely limiting any details about what's next and why they would want fans to tune in to next week's SmackDown. But that doesn't mean the WWE isn't teasing fans, as seen by this tweet from Wyatt, who said, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." Now we're not 100% sure what the meaning is behind this message, but some viewers have made a strong connection between the doll that was featured in the Firefly Funhouse last year as being Alexa Bliss and not Liv Morgan as we previously thought. Alexa Bliss might not be Sister Abigail, but another character in the Firefly Funhouse. Whatever the case, this storyline could be one of the WWE's hottest angles since The Fiend debuted last year. There's lots of speculation as to whether Bliss will become Sister Abigail or undergo some other transformation. But what do you guys think the mystery is? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up is the 2020 WWE Draft coming soon. Despite a wild year, the WWE Universe could see a WWE Draft in 2020. Apparently, they've wanted to shake things up for some time, but circumstances have put things on hold. According to Fightful.com, a draft was originally set at the end of August before being moved to September. After it was set for September, it was moved to October, then back and forth again. The original source that we heard from the story in June had noted WWE had informed some broadcast partners of both draft plans and live event plans, the latter of which was nixed completely. However, Ringside News' Felix Upton is reporting, at the current time WWE is reportedly planning for another draft in October that could set a very interesting stage for Survivor Series the month after, which is a pay-per-view based on brand supremacy. Now, the WWE Draft could be a great way to shake things up, but as history has shown, they're often reluctant to make any significant changes. Plus, the draft last year was a complete letdown. It was just more of a boring listing of superstars than how the draft used to be, keeping us all in suspense as to who was going to switch over to SmackDown and who was going to switch over to Raw. Next up, Booker T gives advice for Biggie, and Xavier Woods responds. WWE Hall of Famer Booker T is always ready to share his thoughts on how a wrestler is doing or how they can improve, as seen by his recent discussion about New Day member Big E. In case you missed it, Big E is on his own, pursuing a singles run while New Day teammates Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods take time off to heal from injuries. Booker looked at what Big E needs to do. I think Big E's going to have to shed a few things in order for people to look at him like the world champion. The gear, maybe some forms of the gear, the colors. But then again, people say, oh well, he shouldn't change anything. I'm not going to sit here and say what, because I don't want the internet going off saying, oh, Booker T saying he needs to do this. One person who didn't seem to appreciate Booker's advice was Big E's New Day teammate Xavier Woods, who tweeted, because doing what other people told us to do worked so well for us before, we started doing what we wanted to do. Oh wait. Woods apparently isn't too happy with Booker's comments, but should Big E ignore the advice of a two-time WWE Hall of Famer and multiple champion? Booker recently offered advice for SmackDown superstar Naomi, imploring her to ignore fan movements on social media and strive to succeed on her own. What do you think of Booker's advice? Should Big E change up his look, or should he remain the same? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Daniel Bryan is helping overlooked talent. Fans of Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, Drew Gulak and Shorty G may be in for a pleasant surprise if the following story is accurate. If you've been following our news videos, you know Daniel Bryan is reportedly heavily involved with the creative end of SmackDown, and according to a recent report at Wrestling News, Bryan is also working hard to get underutilized talent over. For example, Drew Gulak's storyline with Bryan that kicked off earlier this year was done at Bryan's request, and he gained much more influence behind the scenes. This is also why Gulak was booked to wrestle Styles on SmackDown a few weeks ago. The report states that fans may see an end to the Chad Gable Shorty G gimmick, one of the stupidest ideas in recent memory, and that they should expect to see Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik challenging Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Pushing overlooked talent seems to be Vince McMahon's latest fad. While it's definitely a good move, it's only good if the WWE sticks with it and gives underutilized talent a chance to get over. Next up, a Raw superstar is moving back to NXT. It looks like the WWE is moving Raw performer Shane Thorne back to NXT. You may recall, Thorne formed a team with Brendan Vink on Raw, with MVP briefly working alongside them. While it's unknown what's going on with Vink, Wrestling News' Paul Davis is reporting, Vince McMahon is said to have liked him because of his size. He's 6'5" from Australia, but he's willing to go slow with him. A WWE source described Vink as the perfect wrestler who is well spoken, and he is someone like Drew McIntyre and John Cena who looks great on camera and would carry himself like a star when he's booked for mainstream TV interviews. Well, nothing says pushing younger talent like putting them on NXT. Next up, Chris Jericho talks the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament, and a former NXT superstar is now an entrant in the tournament. Now in case you missed it, All Elite Wrestling is debuting a new Women's Tag Team Championship soon, but first it will hold an 8-team tournament to determine the inaugural champion. One of the competitors is former NXT performer Tanara Conti, who you can be sure has something to prove. The tournament, called the Deadly Draw, has Chris Jericho's attention, and during his latest Saturday night special show with his fans, he discussed a match he's seen and how it blew him away.
The women's tag team tournament, I think you guys are really going to like it. And we're giving a lot of different people a chance, a lot of different women that haven't been around for a while or maybe have never been given that opportunity. But I'll tell you what, I was really surprised. There was a match of Nyla Rose and Ariane Andrews, and Andrew against Ty Conti. So I didn't know what to expect, but I watched this match and all 4 girls just kicked ass. It was really good. It was way bigger, way better than I expected. I'm not saying that in a mean way either. They really impressed me, all of them.
AEW continues to build its women's division despite recent setbacks, such as the long-term injuries to Chris Statlander and Dr. Britt Baker, but this women's tag team tournament should be excellent. And finally, Charlotte Flair is on Cameo. Last but not least, add Charlotte Flair to the growing list of WWE superstars on Cameo, the service that allows fans to pay for personalized messages from their favorite celebrity. While Bliss is charging $400 and Roman Reigns is charging $500, Charlotte is going much lower with $250 for a message. Hopefully no one will pay to ask the Queen out on a date, as one fan did with Alexa Bliss but got turned down. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Facebook for exclusive lists, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.